Hey guys, welcome to today's video and welcome on into my beauty stash. Today I have new Hourglass to share with you guys. We're gonna have a little swatch party. I'm gonna show you this year's 3 palettes versus last year's 3 palettes. I'm gonna do an application of one of the palettes, a 10-hour wear test, and I'm gonna give you some dupe alternatives and let you guys see how these palettes wear, at least one of them, for the work day. Now, these palettes dropped 2 days ago over on the Hourglass website. I'm going to, of course, give you some more close-up looks of this when we get to the swatch portion of the video, which is just in a second here. This is the Dragon palette, and I do think that some of these palettes are better suited for lighter, medium, and then deeper skin tones, and I will go over that with you all in a second. Each palette is going to retail for $90. These are the ambient lighting unlocked edit palettes, meaning you can get like this dragon, what is this called? The lotus flower casing, the packaging, which is really pretty. And if you don't like this color story and maybe you liked the dragon color story, you could do that. So you can choose your palette and then choose your preset color story, but you do have to choose from one of the 3 preset color stories that they did this year for holiday 2024. Now, again, this is the lotus flower, and then this last one, I think this is my favorite as far as the cover art goes. This is the Evil Eye palette, and then let me open it up. You do get a mirror with all of them, and this is the color story that you're getting. So we'll swatch it all out. We'll compare notes from last year, and we'll see if these are worth your $90 or not. I know some of you collect these palettes. I started collecting them the year before. I got 2 of the palettes. I believe I had Elephant and was it Snake? And then last year I ended up getting all 3. And then this year again, I purchased all 3. So I still use mine. I just used one of them yesterday. I think it was my Tiger palette that I used yesterday, and it wore well. These are an Italian baked formula. So, you know, it's a luxury price tag, and you have to decide at the end of the day whether that's going to fit into your budget or not. But, you know, it's nice to see color story wise that Hourglass is not just focusing on fair to light. They are moving into more deeper skin tones, which they should have been there years ago. But that's neither here nor there. They're making the adjustments necessary, and we'll see again if these are going to be worth your time and your money. If it is your first time here on my channel, let me just welcome all of you. Hey there, my name is Steff. Love trying out new makeup. I am primarily a new makeup review channel, but I do multiple looks at eyeshadow palettes, makeup ranking videos, you name it. I just love makeup. If that sounds like something you want to see on a regular basis, do me a favor, click on that subscribe button, hit the bell next to it. That way you can be notified every time I do drop a new video. And if you are very curious about these Hourglass palettes, the holiday palettes for 2024, please give this video a big thumbs up before you go. As usual, everything that I'm wearing, which is not too much, not a lot of face and makeup, but everything will be linked and listed in the description box, and some of those things might be affiliate links. So if you do end up shopping, I thank you so much for helping me support this channel. Let's take you on into the swatch portion of the video, then the application, and then I'll wrap up the video by letting you see how one of these palettes wore for 10 hours, and also giving you my dupe alternative, final thoughts, recommendations, all that good stuff. If you guys want to see these new Hourglass palettes in action, keep on watching. Okay guys, so here are our palettes. I have them going from light, medium, deep. This is how I feel they fall. Again, these palettes do run for $90 a piece. These are the 2024 holiday palettes. Let's take a look inside Dragon. And it's very sturdy packaging, and they all will come with a mirror. So with this Dragon palette, this shade right here, this is the only one that is not new. The rest of the shades are new. So let me go ahead and start swatching this one out. This shade is called Dreamlight, and this one is a finishing powder. You can see it just gives a soft glow, not a highlight. The next shade I'm going to go in with is going to be our first blush shade, and this one is called Peach Fusion. I want to swatch with enough room so that all of the palettes can be visible. You see that's a very light, soft wash of color. The next one we're going to go in with is Divine Light, and it is this shade right here. This one is also a finishing powder. Next, we're going to go in with this blush shade down here. This is Mauve Suede. Next, we're going in with Soft Bronze. And finally, we're going in with this shade right here called Sunlit Strobe Light. I believe this is, I think I told you wrong, this is going to be the only highlighter in this palette. These other two at the top are finishing powders. That's really pretty. Okay, so there is the Dragon palette. You can definitely see this is going to be more flattering on a fair complexion. So here is the Evil Eye. Now, this first shade right here is Soft Light. It's a finishing powder, and this is not a new shade. Next, we have this first blush shade. This, actually, no, I take it back. This is a highlighter shade. This one is called Rose Gold Strobe Light. Okay, so I can already see like this shade and this shade look super similar. This does have maybe a slight bit of pink rose gold in it, like the shade name suggests, but I mean, come on. Those look rather similar. This shade is the first blush shade. This one is called Pink Fusion. That's a really pretty one. Let me lower my arm. You guys can see Dragon at the bottom, Evil Eye at the top. This next shade is a blush shade, and this one is called Oasis Glow. This looks really pretty and unique. Oh, there's definitely sparkle in that one. There's almost like little micro glitter in this one. That's interesting. Next, we have Vibrant Coral. This is a blush. That is a pretty blush shade. They are buildable. And obviously I'm not building them up too much, but you can build them. Finally, we have the shade Natural Bronze. All right, so here we have the Evil Eye palette. I think this is also a good one for light skin tones, fair skin tones. I said this could be for medium because that's just how I was kind of ranking them, just going by appearance. But now that they're swatched, Dragon down here, Evil Eye up here, I mean, really, they could both. I guess they could go either way, although I think they'd show up more on a fair to light skin tone, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Let's move on to the final palette, which is going to be the Lotus Flower palette. Okay, so here we are with Lotus Flower. I think this packaging is beautiful. All right, so in this particular palette, this is the shade that is not new. The other 5 are new. So we're gonna start first with this shade here. This one is called Gilded Strobe Light, and this is a highlighter shade. So I definitely think that is going to be flattering on a more medium to deep skin tone. Next, we're going to go into this shade right here called Desert Flush, and this is a blush shade. Next, we're going to go into Eternal Light. This is the only finishing powder in this palette, and you can see this is going to be more suited for someone of a deeper skin tone. Now, if you're thinking, well, I'm a fair skin tone and I want to wear this, like I want to get all of them, for example, or maybe you would like this color store and you want to get it, you could wear that as a blush, bronzer, highlighter, whatever you feel it would work best for you. And that's what I do with my other palettes, that, you know, the shade is too dark to be a finishing powder. I just use it in a different way. Next, we have Radiant Rose Strobe Light. This is going to be a highlighter. Really pretty shade. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. And see, that could easily be a glowy blush on somebody of a fairer skin tone, although that would look great as a highlighter on somebody with a deeper skin tone, even as a glowy blush on them as well. Next, we have Red O, and this is a blush. Ooh, that's pretty. I'm liking the blushes in this palette the best so far. And finally, we have Bronze Heat, which of course is the bronzer. And there you can see, here is the Lotus Flower, there is Evil Eye, and then there's the dragon. I think the color story I like the most is actually this one right here. This one is just so pretty, the Lotus Flower, and I know it's more suited for somebody of a medium to deeper skin tone, but I'm gonna wear this. This one is really pretty. Okay, now I'm gonna show you guys comparisons to last year's palettes. Okay guys, so since I had Lotus Flower out, I feel like these are the best palettes for deeper skin tones. This is a Tiger palette from last year. I actually wore this yesterday. The blush, oh my god, these blushes are beautiful. I got some compliments yesterday. But you can see some similarities, some differences. The blushes in this year's palette are a little more pink leaning, while the blushes in last year's palette are definitely more orange leaning. The bronzers up here, last year's looks like a deeper bronzer. You can see it there, versus this year. Actually, no. You know what? Just by looking, you would think, but here's this year, here's last year. This year's Lotus Flower looks deeper than last year's. Very interesting. This shade right here, this is a blush shade in Lotus Flower, and I'm gonna swatch it with, see, these blushes over here are more shimmery, and so you can see it's like you're getting the matte version of the shimmer blush in last year's palette. But I can see how these would be flattering on somebody with a deeper skin tone, especially because of the bronzer, also because of the highlighter. Let's do the highlighter real quick. So here's last year's, very pretty. Here's this year's, different. They're different. This one is slightly darker. But overall, I mean, they would definitely make nice compliments. They are not spot on. And I think actually this year's is a little bit deeper than last year's palette. And again, I was comparing to the Tiger palette versus this year's Lotus palette. All right, so next we have the more fair tone skin palettes. And this is the Dragon palette. And this one is the Jellyfish palette from last year. You can see the finishing powders look kind of similar to one another, although the highlighters I think are going to be super different, but let's find out. This is the one in Dragon, and this is the one from Jellyfish. Yeah, there's a significant difference there. Let's look at the bronzers, because that's always important. You want your bronzer to go with your skin tone. This is last year's Jellyfish, and this one is this year's Dragon. So I can see this one looks like it has a little more warmth versus Dragon that looks like it has a little bit more coolness in it. Now, as far as the blushes go, I think the ones that would be similar would be these two right here. So let's go ahead and just swatch these real quick. That's Jellyfish, and that's Dragon. So there is a difference there. This looks like a more nude blush. This one you have a little bit of mauve in it, a little bit of pink in it. But other than that, I think these are definitely flattering for a more fair to light skin tone, given that they have the lighter finishing powder. I think they're definitely going to work best on somebody with that that type of skin tone. And last but not least, we have the palettes I feel are best suited for medium skin tones. Evil Eye over here, the Owl palette over here on the right. So again, let's start by looking at the bronzers. I'm going to swatch Owl. And I'm going to swatch Evil Eye. Not a huge difference there. Honestly, not a huge difference. I feel like maybe the Owl has a little bit, again, more warmth. And the bronzers in this year's palette maybe leaning a little bit more neutral or cool toned, at least just going by these initial swatches. The highlighter, so okay, this one right here is a glowy blush. I'm going to compare this. I know they're not the same, but this is a blush and this is a finishing powder. Yeah, no, not the same. Let's look at the blushes now. Okay, those look, gosh, those look almost identical. Let me do Owl right there. Then let me do Evil Eye. Wow, that's really similar. Let's do Owl, Evil Eye. Okay, these blushes are pretty much the same, guys. Wow. Yeah, that's not, that's interesting. I knew at first glance, like looking at these palettes, they were gonna look super similar, but, and I didn't think they were gonna look that similar. These two palettes are, like, if you have Owl, which I know a lot of you picked Owl up, I really don't think you need to get the Evil Eye. Maybe you can get the palette but put a different color story in it. That would be my recommendation, because these are just way too similar. Here's Evil Eye highlighter. Here's the highlighter in Owl. Oh my god, that's like, this is like a repeat. That's crazy. But okay, glad we did these swatch comparisons, because these are definitely the most similar of the two, Owl and Evil Eye. Definitely, if you have this one and you want this packaging, get a different color story in this one, because I don't think it's worth owning both. Now I'm going to take you to my filming desk and we're going to try out one of these palettes for the day. I'm going to wear test it for you guys for 10 hours and we'll see how well they hold up. I will say that when I wore Tiger yesterday, this lasted a good 14 hours. So I went to go get my hair done after work and the blush, everything was still on. So this one is still a year later going strong in my stash. And I really do, reach for all of these palettes. I know you think, Steff, you have such a big makeup collection, but I really do reach for them. The ones from last year, and I mean, they're pretty, but they are getting repetitive. So let's go try one of them on. I haven't decided yet which one I want to wear to work today, but let's see how these are going to apply. Okay guys, so for today's wear test, I decided that I'm going to be using the Dragon palette, and again, this is what it looks like. This is the one that is best suited for somebody of my skin type. So I'm going to start first with the bronzer. And I'm using a little BH Cosmetics brush to apply. Hourglass does make a beautiful baked formula. They are made in Italy. And I mean, it's just up to you. It's a luxury brand, you know, and it's up to you whether you want to pay the luxury price tag. Some of you will, some of you do, and some of you are going to want a dupe alternative, which I will, of course, mention when I wrap up today's video. But my dupe alternatives are the same year after year. I think I have a different one this year for the blush. But there really is, in my opinion, one brand at the drugstore, I'll let you try and guess, that is the ultimate dupe for Hourglass. And that's a good thing that it's at the drugstore. And I think it's pretty worldwide availability, so another plus. Just bringing the bronzer down a little bit, kind of treating it like contour. I usually don't. I've stopped bringing the bronzer down. I've just reserved it to the forehead and to the nose, but yeah, we're trying this palette. We're playing today. All right, next I'm going to go into the blush, and I'm going to use the shade right here. Another BH Cosmetics brush. So you see it's applying very sheer, but they are buildable. And since this is the more lighter palette, the shades are obviously going to be lighter as they initially apply. Now I like a bolder blush, so obviously I'm dipping in a little more frequently than some of you might at home. But if you want just that soft flush of color, then a couple times would be enough. Don't really know how I'm feeling about this blush. For me, it's just a little too light. Maybe it'll look better like out there in natural lighting because I am under these studio lights and stuff, but not really feeling it too much right now. And I kind of just wanted to stick to one palette. But yeah, there you can see. I mean, it gives a nice wash of color, a nice glow, but not really the pigmentation that I'm looking for. Next, I'm going to go into the highlighter that's in this palette on my Rare Beauty brush. Now, I don't use a lot of the finishing powders. I will today just because we're trying the palette, but especially with a palette that's like this light, it's gonna diffuse all of the pigment. And I'm gonna have to add a little bit more blush back. Well, I am right now because I just did my highlighter, and I always do that to mesh the two together. But yeah, this blush is just not showing up. But we'll do the powder, the finishing powder right now. This one has two finishing powders. I like to use a big fluffy brush, and I think I'm just gonna go into this one here. And then you kind of just work it over the entire complexion. I usually don't do my nose. You can take it up under the eye if you want. But you see how it kind of just diffuses everything, but it also takes everything that you put on your face down a couple notches. So if you had your perfect pigmentation, your perfect colors already, this is gonna mute them a little bit. But this is how it looks. I am going to add just a little bit more blush because obviously I took it down. But I'm going to be wear testing this for a good 10 hours today. And again, we're wear testing the Dragon palette. So I will see you guys when I get home from work. I will share with you my final thoughts on these Hourglass palettes. I'll give you some dupe alternatives, and I'll let you know whether these are worth your time and, more importantly, your money. Hey guys, so it's been 10.5 hours that I've been wear testing this new Hourglass palette. The blush is still on, like all of the products are still on. Maybe, no, the highlighter's still there. I was saying maybe the highlighter diminished a little bit, but you know, this was just a really light palette. The other ones I feel have more pigmentation, the Evil Eye and the Lotus Flower, but this Dragon one, this is the one I wore, right? I'm sorry, it's been a long day. But this palette that I'm currently wearing is the lightest out of all of them and probably the least pigmented, and that's because it's intended for fair to light skin tones. In looking at all three of the palettes, I think they're really pretty color stories, but again, at first glance, when I saw them, I'm like, these look identical to last year's. So After seeing the swatches and the side-by-side comparisons, I'll leave it up to you whether you feel that you need to own these or not. Remember, they are $90 a piece, so it's not an inexpensive palette, especially if you want all three. That's gonna cost you about 300 bucks. So I know last year they had some people had a discount code for like 10-15% off, but I don't recall seeing one this year. But if you can find one, by all means, like go for it. Like maybe get them all if you have a discount code, or just pick your favorite one and go from there. Sister is jumping on my lap right now, so she's really excited for this video. She helped me out a little bit this morning, but I did tell you guys I was gonna give you all some dupe alternative recommendations. So at the drugstore and just in general, my number one dupe for Hourglass is always Milani. I think they make amazing baked blushes. This is their baked blush formula, but they also have a baked bronzer formula and a baked highlighter formula that I think is super similar to this Hourglass. And Milani is a pretty widely available brand, so if you don't live in the US, you can likely find Milani in other countries. I just think for the price and what you get, Milani, it's where it's at if you're not going to be able to get these Hourglass palettes. I also, from the drugstore, and this is a brand that I know is not going to be readily available to a lot of you, but JCat made some awesome highlighters last year. This is a baked formula. I have all three shades. You can find them on their website. I think you can still find them on the Ulta website. These highlighters are absolutely amazing, super smooth and pigmented. And then if you're looking for another, maybe not drugstore option, but something available at Sephora, I've really been enjoying the Kosas baked blushes. These are the Hype, is it? Wait, no, I think that's the name of the color. Hype Blushes Life. I think Blushes Life is the name of the color. Hype is the name of the color. But these new baked blushes, they came out this year. I think it was over the summer, right before the summer, from Kosas, have been working out really well for me. I like their pigmentation. It's a buildable formula, but it's a formula that lasts all day. And they have about maybe 6 to 8 different shades to choose from. Pinky shades, I would say, but they do have a little like coral peach leaning as well. Oh my God, did you guys hear that? That was Sister. She dropped something. I need to go investigate what she did. That was hilarious. But overall, guys, you know, you get what you pay for with these Hourglass palettes. It is an Italian baked formula. It's a nice formula. They're beautifully designed palettes. They are nice color stories. And I forgot to mention the intro, 5% of the profits from these palettes go to the Non-Human Rights Project, and that goes to help out endangered animals. So if you're a collector, I don't need to twist your arm on this. If it's just gonna be your first time trying Hourglass, I think this is a great purchase to make. If this is your first time experiencing the brand, if you have a lot of their stuff already, I don't think you are gonna find these necessary, especially if you bought last year's palettes and the year before. I kind of feel like these palettes are already duping themselves. But let me know your thoughts, guys. We did a lot in today's video. We went over a lot of stuff. Sound off in the comments down below. Let me know if you're going to be picking these up or you're going to be passing. I want to thank you guys so much for watching another one of my videos. Y'all have a great day or night wherever it is y'all are at. Stay hydrated, drink that water, and I'm going to see y'all very soon. Bye.